I mean, I think if it were,
Welcome to Stargatesing, a Stargate gazing podcast. I'm your host, Mary.
And I'm your other host, Kathy.
And each week we review an episode of Stargate alternating between SG1 and Atlantis. Hello. How's it going?
It's going fine. How about you?
Great. Just great.
Great. That's great to hear. I am a bit tired because I was up late fighting zombies.
Yeah, you were up late shooting me with guns and throwing dynamite at me. Thanks for that. Bitch.
No problem. You kept trying to eat me.
You were one of many people. I didn't know who you were. I was just going after the humans.
You had it coming.
I didn't. I was just trying to eat breakfast. I was hungry.
I was trying to survive and save the townsfolk.
That's not very friendly of you, Kathy, to help your friend have breakfast. I just wanted a good meal, a nice warm meal.
Brains. You and Jeff should have eaten each other.
He was too slimy because he was also a zombie. We were up too late playing Last Night on Earth last night. Zombies lost, because I feel like that game was definitely stacked against the zombies.
That's so funny, because at the beginning I was like, we can't get away from these damn zombies.
Yeah, but then you all got guns and we couldn't get anywhere close to any of you, so we had no hope.
Love my guns. Not a sentence I say very often.
No.
Yeah.
You know, who else loves guns?
Yeah, who does like guns?
SG1 always loves their guns.
They do, but
although there wasn't a ton of gunfire in this episode.
I was going to say, sadly, they didn't get to do that very much.
No, there's other large weapons, but not guns in this one.
Yeah.
I suppose this will be a short intro then. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about today Stargate SG1 Season 10, Episode 20.
Holy crap.
The
Holy
final
Hannah.
Episode.
Holy Hannah.
Holy Hannah.
Holy
the last
Hannah.
episode. We've made it after 5.5 years.
Unending.
It was.
The aptly named Unending.
Yes. This could apply to both the last 2 seasons of the show and also this episode.
Yes. I get it's, the concept that the show goes on. They're still out there doing their thing.
Yeah.
But oh my God.
Yeah. Yep.
Hard to see past the actual unending part of this episode.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. The episode starts in the weirdest gym ever. Teal'c and Mitchell are sparring. The sparring arena is in the center of the gym, and around the little sparring area, all of the cardio equipment and also many weight machines interspersed together are circled around this sparring area so that anyone using any of the equipment for any extended period of time is just there staring at the people sparring creepily. It just seemed very weird to me. And then on the back wall were the lockers. Why would the lockers be in the gym instead of in a locker room where lockers would presumably belong?
That's a
Who
good
knows?
question.
Just a really weird gym. Odd mix of equipment all around and staring at this one location. Although it did turn out, Teal'c and Mitchell seemed to be the only two in there.
True.
I was trying to say if anyone else was there just watching them, but that was not apparent. They're talking about a pool of the gambling variety as Mitchell is getting his ass kicked by Teal'c. We don't know exactly what they are gambling on, and Teal'c doesn't want to speculate, and Mitchell can't make him. Next, we are in the hallway. Daniel's there, reading a book as he walks, like you do. Totally normal thing to be reading and walking at the same time.
Especially on a busy ship with narrow halls.
Right, exactly. He comes around a corner and into a room, and Vala and a bunch of crew members are in there, and all shout, "Surprise!" Daniel immediately turns around and leaves the room because it's not his birthday, but Vala was bored, and they weren't going to believe that it was her birthday. Yet again. And they made a weird cat piñata thingy, so maybe come back? But no, Daniel's having none of that. Vala, though, thinks that being stuck on this ship is worse than being stuck at the SGC, and she's definitely got some untreated ADHD, in my opinion, as an ADHD person. On the bridge, Landry is here. Everyone's here. Great.
Yeah.
Marx tells Landry that they have approached the coordinates, so they drop out of hyperspace. What coordinates those are, we still don't know yet. They're being hailed. And it's the Asgard.
The Asgard.
We haven't seen them in forever.
Right?
And Thor comes on board.
This is beyond you, Metal Man.
And welcomes them to Orilla. So we finally get to the Asgard home planet. I guess we've been here before, technically, with Jack.
I think
at one time. But this is the first time we've seen the planet from any other vantage point.
I can't remember, was at least one of their worlds destroyed by the replicators? So maybe this isn't even their home
Yeah,
world?
this might.
I
think you might be
remember.
right that this is their newly settled planet.
Stupid replicators.
Right? Seriously. Sam, of course, is delighted to see Thor, and he's happy to see her as well. Vala whispers to Daniel, asking how they can know the difference, and he says it's all in the voice, which we're all supposed to think is very funny because Thor is voiced by Michael Shanks.
Yep.
It sounded even more Michael Shanks-like in this episode, I thought, than in episodes past.
Perhaps.
They did less effort to disguise the voice a bit. Or Michael Shanks did less effort to disguise his voice. I don't know. Maybe both. They, of course, comment on the fact that it's been a while since they've heard from the Asgard, and Thor says that he's been occupied. There's been a lot going on. They've been very busy with many different things, but the Asgard are prepared to beam aboard immediately and begin installing various technologies and upgrades to the ship. So that's cool. Landry wants to know what the Asgard are planning to give them, and Thor tells them everything. Everything they have, everything they know, literally their entire culture and technology database, everything.
That's a lot.
Uploaded to the ship. It is a lot. Everyone, obviously, is surprised by this, but Daniel in particular is the one to mention the fact that the Asgard have always resisted in the past giving any additional technology beyond what they've already done, since they didn't think the humans were ready. And Thor says that there's still a lot of Asgard that believe that, but the entire race is dying and will soon be gone, and so if they're going to have any kind of a legacy at all, they got to give it to someone, and that's going to be the humans.
Wow.
Yeah. Then credits.
Credits! Oh my goodness.
Indeed.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Very sudden end to
I
the
know.
Asgard. That only becomes more sudden very shortly.
Yes. After credits, we see the Asgard are already busy at work on the ship, helping the crew install things. Thor and Sam are hanging out. He's letting her know that the Asgard stuff they're installing has its own power source and it will not interfere with their ZPM.
Convenient.
Yeah, except for when they will be fully integrated after the upgrades are done. It only matters later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sam, though, says there must be something you can do, and she is, of course, talking about the fact that the Asgard are all going to die and not the technology, which Thor misunderstands.
We're already giving you everything we have, bitch.
Know. What more? Thor, though, tells her that they have done everything they can. Their final attempt to fix their physiological degeneration has resulted in a disease that is rapidly progressing and is going to kill them all.
You said people gonna die?
So as good timing would have it, bad timing, ironic timing, whatever, a study came out very recently where they did actually just keep cloning and making more clones of mice. And I think once they got out to around like 58 generations, all of the new ones that were born, despite having anything obviously physiologically wrong with them, immediately died after birth. So yes, degenerative cloning is apparently a thing. It's not necessarily like a disease like they're talking about here, but even though the mice looked fine, they were not able to survive, and they don't really know exactly why the mice were immediately dying, but they all did.
I'm tired, boss.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Thought it was interesting. Was just reading about this like last week.
Ready to predict the future, SG1.
They had expected to be able to get thousands of generations out of this attempt.
Yeah.
Not so.
Wow. Oh, mice. Poor mice. Oh, well.
Indeed. Poor little ill-fated mice.
Yes.
Stuck living in a lab.
Thanks for sciencing for us.
It does, but that's why I was never able to go into any branch that involved experimenting on mice or any other mammals. I didn't even like experimenting on frogs.
Yeah. It's
Just feels mean.
a little bit, but I appreciate that.
I know
people
it's necessary
do
in
things.
some ways, but I don't like it
Yeah.
personally to be doing myself.
Let's not think about how the Asgard experiment on themselves to figure this stuff out.
Indeed.
After Sam and Thor have their conversation, we are in the conference room of the Odyssey where they're all talking about what's going on with the Asgard, not with the technology. Landry says they are planning to end their lives before the degeneration goes too far, which I was like, good for them for self-determining like that instead of just being forced to die horribly.
Yeah.
I don't know. Mitchell calls it mass suicide, which I guess so. Yeah.
It is a bit grim that they want them to be there to witness it.
Yeah, that is a bit.
That's creepy.
Yeah. And they're doing this, though, because they don't want their massive amounts of very advanced technology falling into the wrong hands, which they think is fine if they give it to humans. Arguably, I'd say the humans are going to fuck that shit up real bad.
Yeah.
Real quick.
Yep.
But
I don't think humans are trustworthy with that kind of technology.
But it's nice that Thor has made such a good relationship with the SGC that he thinks it's worth the risk, and other Asgard do too. So, yeah. And that's all that's going to be left of them after they die is what's on this ship.
Yep.
It's a lot.
It is a lot. Somewhere else, some control room, Thor and Sam are working on the new Asgard interface that has been installed. And Thor is telling her that she's going to be able to interact with any holographic representation of him or any other Asgard on record in the knowledge base. So it's going to be great. You'll never even know we're gone. But Sam does not think that that is the same. Thor seems a bit disappointed that she's not more excited. He says he's been working on it for the better part of a year, but Sam's going to miss him. They're friends, and Thor agrees they have become friends.
He's a friend from work!
But humans are the fifth race, and their role is clear, and all hope for the future lies with humans, and therefore everybody is screwed. They don't say that. I say that.
Yeah.
So Thor doesn't think that Sam should be sad, because this is just the natural progression of the timeline of his people. Too many irreversible mistakes, and they have come to accept their fate, so the humans should accept the Asgard fate as well.
And Sam hugs him.
She does.
It. Them.
Yeah, we don't ever really get a gender on any of them. They do refer to Thor as he, but
True. So,
but that's the only reason that we have also kept referring to Thor as he.
It's the closest this episode will get to even briefly touching anywhere near Jack O'Neill is the mention of that fifth race.
Yeah. Yeah.
For the series
No
end.
no send off for
Nope.
Jack. Just that one episode we had a while back.
Yep.
But there's no time here to keep talking about all the feels, because there's alarm sounding and there are 3 Ori motherships dropping out of hyperspace. So says Marks over on the bridge. Landry calls down to Sam and tells her about this. She's got to get there right away, but Sam says that the hyperdrive is still offline though, so she can't help him with that. They are diverting power to the shields currently. Thor says we must go, and then that is the series exit of the Asgard. Beams away, never to be seen again.
Nope.
Along with his Asgard friends. So Sam starts getting the hyperdrive back online. While she's working on that, Landry tells Marks to go to full sublight. That's not going to be very speedy, but they at least need to get clear of the planet. 2 of the Ori motherships head towards the planet and explode it.
I was under the impression that the Asgard just set off their explosion.
Oh, did they? Okay.
That was my guess. It could have been either, I suppose.
Yeah, I thought that the Ori had destroyed it, but either way, Orilla explodes.
Yep.
And that's it for the Asgard.
Bye, friends.
Yep. Meanwhile, though, there is another Ori ship that is following the Odyssey around and firing at them, and their shields are dropping. They're also not able to get into hyperspace because Sam hasn't fixed the issue. The shockwave of the planet exploding has knocked their shields down even further, so things are not going great.
No.
Sam does manage to get the hyperdrive online, though, and they need to get out of there ASAP before the radiation from that explosion hits the planet. Otherwise, they're not going to be able to jump into hyperspace safely, so they got to still stay out of hyperdrive for a minute, conveniently.
Yep.
So they're going to test the Asgard energy weapons. Sam doesn't really like that plan because they have not been tested yet, but they don't have a choice because now their shields are down to just 28%, and it's going to take 47 seconds for them to get clear of that radiation field, and the Ori ship is definitely going to kill them before that can happen if they don't do anything.
Yeah.
So they do a 180, fire directly on the ship. Somehow it is fine for them to drive through the wreckage of the Ori ship as it's exploding, which I thought was weird.
It's only a model.
But yeah, that's what happens.
Yeah.
It's not just one shot, probably worth mentioning. They had to fire on the Ori ship several times to knock out the shields and then make it explode, but it was pretty efficient overall.
Yeah.
And Landry and everybody else are delighted it worked.
Woohoo!
And now they can get into hyperspace.
Huzzah!
Woo!
Ooh, a little bit of relief.
Indeed.
Whew. I did notice in this episode Landry sitting in the command chair.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember how when they first introduced these ships, like all of the commanders were like rocked, leaned back, chill, and the chair is designed like that.
Yeah, it was like a weird reclining chair.
And it still is. And Landry is sitting the hell upright in that thing. You can clearly see the back like leaned back. And I was like, does no one else really ever want to sit upright?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
It is very weird, especially when you're in a situation like this, a high-stakes situation where you're just going to be like, yeah, I'm lounging backwards as we're about to be killed.
That's what Caldwell would do.
It is what Caldwell would do.
He'd be like, we got this, it's fine.
Yep.
He has no chill anywhere else, but on the bridge, he's full of the chill and leaning back in the seat.
He's got that white man confidence.
Yeah. After they go into hyperspace, they're all continuing to work. Sam's wandering around telling people to run diagnostics. Landry wants a report on what's going on with the ship because he wants to brief the president as soon as they're back. How fast can they duplicate that Asgard weaponry? Sam says she's working on it. However, there's a problem with the hyperdrive. She says the diagnostic is spitting out some concerning data. Always what you want to hear.
Great.
Yeah. She wants to drop out of hyperspace and run a few tests, so they do that. Unfortunately, as soon as they drop out of hyperspace, the Ori are upon them again.
That's inconvenient.
Yeah. Marx calls them motherships, and I was like, they don't have any baby ships, so are they really motherships? It's not like the Goa'uld, where they have all kinds of size ships. So I think he misspoke there, Marx. It's very important.
Indeed.
The Ori are, of course, immediately attempting to fire on them. Landry radios to Sam.
The generators won't take it. The ship is breaking apart and all that. Just FYI.
Telling her they'd rather not take on 2 more ships given the damage. And Sam says that they've got the hyperdrive back online already, so they hop back into hyperspace. Close call.
Indeed.
Yeah. The team and Landry reconvene in the briefing room to talk about how it's weird that the Ori could just show up after they've been in hyperspace. They didn't think they could be tracked in hyperspace. Vala suggests perhaps the Ori are tipping off the priors, which is
the Ori that are supposedly not existent anymore.
Well, we've got Adria now, or just Adria, I suppose, is an Ori.
Ascended Adria. I don't even know I'm trying to think of a portmanteau. Can't come up with one.
It's okay. I mean, technically, Ball was dead before Adria ascended, so
this is true. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. On the bright side, Mitchell says they do have this weapon that can destroy an Ori ship. However, Sam says it doesn't matter if they can just keep tracking us. We're going to run up against more ships than we can handle at some point, which will be bad. Teal'c says, though, maybe the priors can detect some of the Asgard technology, and that's also a possibility, which is not good.
Great, yeah. Womp womp.
Yeah. There's no way to test this because they have to run away, and if they stop to try to test things, they will get caught again. So Sam says the only way to try to figure this out is to shut off the Asgard technology that they've just installed. However, The Asgard core, as Thor mentioned, is now tied into all systems on the ship, which they'll have to drop out of hyperspace to remove from the rest of the systems. And it might take some time. They're in a pickle.
Quite. Pickles.
Oh, yeah, I do like pickles.
Pickles are delicious.
Although not with the coffee I'm drinking right now.
Ugh. No, that would be very gross.
Not a good combo.
No, absolutely not.
I'm a pickle!
So the ship drops out of hyperspace to try to take care of that separation issue. And of course, as soon as they drop out of hyperspace, there are 2 contacts on the sensors. And of course, it is once again the 2 Ori ships. Ori ships immediately start firing and the shields start dropping down again. They're doing evasive maneuvers. They're trying to fire on the Ori ships. Mitchell says, we've already taken out one of them. What's another 2, right? Landry calls down to Sam and lets her know that he needs the hyperdrive right now. She thinks she's got it fixed, so give it a go. And they go back into hyperspace. Landry comes down to the control room to see Sam with the rest of SG1 in tow, and she tells them that they're going to need at least a half an hour to get the hyperdrive system separated, so basically she just briefly took it offline before and put it right back on without actually doing anything since they needed to get out of there. But they can assume that the Ori ships are going to continue to stop and fight them anywhere that they stop, so not a great solution.
No.
Landry asks for a planet nearby with a Stargate on it, and there is one there, so great. They're going to head over to that, maybe self-destruct the ship, everyone gates home. But of course, all of SG1 is appalled by that because now the Asgard are all dead, and this would destroy their legacy with them, and Landry is aware of that, but doesn't see an alternative. Mitchell, though, and the rest of SG1 seem perfectly content, though, to fight till the end, trying to protect this ship. So their happy compromise is that they're going to head to that planet, beam everyone else down to the planet, and then SG1 and Landry can stay on board and try to defend the ship. Meanwhile, Sam's going to try to think of a way to buy them a little bit more time so that they can stop and fix this issue.
Yay.
Yeah.
So next we see they drop back out of hyperspace, buy the planet, and beam the crew off the ship.
Bye, crew.
Bye, crew. And then it's just SG1 and Landry. All alone. The Ori are there. Uh-oh.
Of course.
There's a firefight between the 2 of them. Obviously, their already low shields are not doing well. Daniel reports they're down to 23%. Uh-oh. They do explode a second Ori ship, so...
Oh, right.
Yeah, down to 1, at least. It's a one-on-one fight now. Things aren't looking good on the bridge. We get random fires on the bridge.
What is catching on fire on the bridge?
I don't know. Standard sci-fi trope. Random things catch fire on the bridge.
Yeah, it's a good thing that they have a fire extinguisher, because Tilk goes about taking out the fires while everyone else is working on their control stations.
Sam is getting whacked with some coolant that seems to have come out of nowhere. She's not on the bridge. She's down in the control room working.
There's always a coolant tube in the most inconvenient of places.
The shields go completely offline. Mitchell reports, 1 more hit will take us out. Yes. So Landry radios down to Carter. Sam pulls herself up off the floor where she'd been knocked over, pushes a button, and suddenly time freezes.
Not completely.
Not completely, but we see that outside there's a beam of Ori fire coming towards them, but it is seemingly frozen.
Indeed. Seemingly.
Seemingly. Crazy stuff.
So everything is quiet all of a sudden. They're not taking any more fire. Nobody really knows what's going on because Sam hasn't told them just yet. So they all just look around confused a bit until we are then in the briefing room a little bit later on. And Sam tells everyone that thanks to the Asgard technology, they are in a time dilation bubble. So while time might appear to be passing at the normal rate for them, it could be years passing inside this bubble while only fractions of a second are passing outside.
Oh. Like with Fifth that time.
Indeed. But Landry doesn't think that they're going to need years to fix this issue, right, Sam? And Sam says no, hopefully not. She's going to try to make whatever necessary modifications they need to make to the Odyssey to get it out of phase. And hopefully that'll fix the issue, because then once they get out of phase, then that beam of energy weapon will just pass right through the ship and not actually cause any damage. So that's great. And Sam says, you're probably wondering why I just didn't do that in the first place. And I'm like, okay, great, here we go. The Asgard core came with time dilation field technology built right into it. So that was a quick and easy option. However, for the out-of-phase technology, she's going to have to recreate everything from scratch with what they have on board, and that is going to take a while. Everybody wants to know what a while is, and Sam optimistically says, well, I'm not sure, but we have enough food and water for 3 months now. And Landry's like, well, we can ration that and get even more out of it. And everyone else is horrified by this part of the conversation, especially Vala, who says she's going to go insane and take Daniel with her. Sam's like, and it might take a little bit longer than that, even, which Mitchell is especially dismayed to be hearing. But Landry decides to be optimistic about it and says, great, now you can all catch up on your paperwork.
Fun.
Mm-hmm.
Then we see various scenes of them doing things.
We're gonna need a montage.
Yeah.
Mitchell, interspersed with Mitchell running through the ship.
Yep. A montage.
A montage.
A time passage montage.
Yep. Sam is working on the problem with her Asgard hologram, who's telling her that function is not possible. Landry is just chilling because he's got nothing else to do. Daniel goes into, apparently they've taken an entire little room of this ship and turned it into an Asgard knowledge room. So there's a pedestal in the middle where he can stand and read Asgard information. What this room was before, who knows? Maybe it was the room where they strap people to a chair.
Could be.
Mitchell continues running. Vala and Teal'c are, I don't know, inventorying their supplies, I suppose. Yep. They had a lot of fresh fruit aboard.
Yeah, they did. And I thought it was extra weird because it's clearly been a while and it all still looks pretty fresh.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Fresh fruit and vegetables, I suppose I'll say. But yeah.
I would think it would be getting gross by now.
I know. But here we are.
Yep.
It's fine right now.
Yeah. Maybe they have a special time dilation, an extra small time dilation field just in the food storage chambers here.
Layers of time dilation so they can continue to enjoy fresh food.
Yes.
Vala is talking to Teal'c. He's not really interested in engaging conversation, but, you know, Vala's bored, so what else is she going to do? She's talking about the Ori. She also says she's hearing things all the time and asks Teal'c if he's hearing things, and he says, pointedly, I am trying not to, at her. She is just speculating about what the Ori could do and how they are maybe trying to drive them crazy to make them shut down the dilation field themselves. Teal'c says no. Vala says that wasn't a question, but Teal'c is like, no, please shut up. Silently, he doesn't say that, but he wants Vala to stop talking.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's our first little montage there.
Right. Yes. One of many.
One of many.
Next, we're in the control room. Sam is talking to everybody about her status update. And she says before she tried to build Merlin's out-of-phase technology, she decided to run some simulations. So I guess this whole time she's not actually been working on fixing the problem, but just running simulations, and every single possible simulation that she runs ends up with the ship exploding. So none of it looks great. Every single possible scenario that she explains to them ends up with the ship blowing up.
Yep.
Landry says, well, it's only been a couple weeks, so just keep at it. It's going to be fine. Everything's fine. Vala doesn't like the fact that he said only a couple weeks. Sam says, though, that the Asgard have given them some truly amazing technology, and they actually can go ahead and use a matter converter to give them all of the food, water, oxygen, anything else that they could possibly need. So that's convenient.
Very
we have a replicator.
Convenient.
Yeah.
Listen to me very carefully, because I'm only going to say this once. Coffee. Black.
Super convenient.
Yep.
The one thing they don't have is a way off the ship, Mitchell points out. But Landry says that they just need to give Sam more time. No pressure, Sam.
Yep.
Then we get montage number 2. We see the beam outside. It has crept slightly closer to the ship. Yet the hallway is all looking empty. We see Vala looking depressed and alone, not able to sleep. Daniel opens his door to find Vala in a little pink in black lingerie thing with some fuzzy handcuffs, and he immediately closes the door again. Mitchell and Teal'c are sparring in the weird-ass gym. Mitchell's getting better. He actually manages to catch Teal'c in one of them. I think that's the first time we've ever seen that happen.
Yeah.
Sam materializes a cello for herself down in the engine control room. Daniel continues to study his Asgard study materials, surrounded by the hologram that is this wall of text, and he just kind of looks sad.
Then we are in Daniel's quarters. Vala is there with Daniel. He's talking about the Asgard. That all they wanted to do was live longer. Same thing we would want to do, and they accidentally doomed their entire race. Oopsie. And Daniel says, no matter what you do at the end of the day, life is too short. Vala says, I agree, life is short. And then she gets up and goes over to Daniel, and he's like, what are you doing? And she's like, we've been here so long, let's just, have sex, whatever. She doesn't say that, but that's what she wants.
That is clearly the implication as she's trying to take off his pants.
Yeah. Daniel rebuffs her, as he always does. But then he goes on a very distressing, upsetting, unhinged tirade, I would say.
Yes, lengthy, too.
At Vala, where he is completely horrible to her.
Yep.
He makes her cry.
Yep.
I don't care what issues Daniel was having with Vala and, whatever he throws in his wife that we haven't thought about in, 10 years.
Right.
There was no excuse for the way he spoke to her.
No, absolutely not. He was basically just saying what a horrible person she is, and that if he was ever to move on with anybody, it for sure would not be someone as awful as Vala.
Yeah. But then her crying apparently turns him on, and he's like, great, let's get together. And Vala's like, I'm cool with this. I love emotionally abusive men.
Right. I hated it so much.
It was
she was
terrible.
Just so willing to forgive and forget after he said some truly horrible things to her.
Yeah. Oh.
And it was gross, and I hated the entire thing.
Yep. I hated it so much.
Yep. It was terrible. And it went on. Like I said, it went on for so long.
Yeah. What the Okay, yeah.
Yeah, ridiculous. So sometime later, Vala stumbles out of Daniel's room, and Mitchell happens to be walking by as Vala coyly waves back at Daniel, and Mitchell pauses for a second and makes a weird face and then just keeps running.
Yep.
Neat. Back in Landry's quarters, he's got a tiny little plant that he is lovingly taking care of with a spray bottle, and he's doing a bit of pruning. It's a small plant, but he seems to be very pleased with his work here.
He seems to have also made himself an old man cardigan.
Yes, he has. Mitchell comes in and says that they need to take their chances with the F302s. Landry says, nope, what we need is a sun lamp. He says that the matter converted and oxygen is just not the same, so he wants to start growing some plants to make oxygen for them. But Mitchell continues, though, that they know that at this point it's the Asgard upgrades that are allowing the Ori to track them, so even if they were able to save the ship, they're never going to be able to use the technology on it because the Ori are just going to be able to track any of their ships that they put it on forever. So, unusable, unlimited technology. Landry still seems completely unconcerned and just continues playing with his plant. Out in space, we see basically the same thing. NRG beam has gotten slightly closer yet again. Another montage, of course. Now, this time, Landry is standing on the bridge looking outside at that frozen beam. Sam is in the dining room. Vala comes in and says she wants to help her down in the gym. We see more Teal'c and Mitchell sparring. We see more Daniel studying. And that's the end of montage number 3.
Then Vala and Sam are discussing the continued problems they're trying to solve. Vala is thinking aloud, and when she gets distracted and is like, what's that? At Sam's cello. And Sam's like, it's a cello. I've always wanted to learn how to play. So good for you, Sam, for finding a relaxing thing to do in your off time. If you have off time in this scenario, which, you have to.
She does eventually, we see.
Yeah. Vala asks if time dilation technology could solve their problem. Maybe they could go back in time before this was a situation and, just not have it happen at all. But Sam says that no, that is totally different from what they've done and that's not going to work, but way to brainstorm. Good job. Then they're all eating dinner again. And then we're back in another montage. This one, though,
number 4
is at least set to CCR.
Yeah,
Which
makes it a little bit better. I enjoy them.
I like that song a lot.
Agree.
Have you ever seen The Rain?
Yeah, good song.
Yep. So Sam's playing the cello. Landry has way more plants than he did before.
Yeah, lots of plants.
Yep. Mitchell's running around. Vala's got some roller skates. That looks like fun. Yep. They're eating together, having a good time, talking and laughing. Mitchell is sitting in a 302.
Looking sad.
He is not having a good time.
Nope.
We see Sam is replicating Tritonin for Teal'c, so I'm glad that they have, again, their magic replicator so that they can have no other problems on this. Right. They have a Christmas celebration. There's a tree. They're laughing. Mitchell's got mistletoe, kissing the ladies.
Worth mentioning that Vala's been sitting on Daniel's lap, so they're clearly not just hooking up, but an actual thing, you know? What I really wanted was the Mitchell-Sam Teal'c throuple, but we don't get that storyline.
We don't, they don't have time for that, I guess, in this long-ass episode.
It's not really a montage anymore, but we get a few brief scenes of Sam continuing to work and getting annoyed when Thor says that what she's trying to do isn't possible. In Landry's quarters, we watch them play chess for a bit, and Mitchell goes on a rant about how much he hates this ship. But Landry says, you're a pilot, you love flying. And Mitchell reminds him, this isn't flying, it's just standing still in space. This is still actually more montage, because then we get a brief scene of Daniel and Vala sitting on the floor. Vala is crying, and he's trying to comfort her. In Mitchell's quarters, he's got some model airplanes that he's playing around with and holding a football, and then he completely loses his temper and destroys everything in his quarters and throws the mattress around, and he's not having a good time.
Nope.
We see everybody eating at a dining room table, looking sad and unhappy and not talking to each other. Sam continues to work, and Thor hologram continues to tell her what she's trying to do isn't possible. End of montage 4, with a brief pause in the middle for a conversation with Landry and Mitchell.
So wild.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. So much montage.
Yeah.
Just like...
Out in space, the beam is now significantly closer to the ship than it had been before. And we see Sam playing on the cello a bit. It says end montage, but it seems to be just more montage here.
I think we kind of just go
right into montage number 5.
The CCR montage to Sam's celloing montage.
Yeah, now Sam's playing the cello while we continue with a new montage. Daniel and Vala are lying in bed together, and they're clearly older, and Daniel mentions it's been 20 years today. Vala asks if he thinks life is too short still. Sam continues playing. Mitchell and Landry keep playing chess. Daniel keeps studying. But then I guess Sam is finally done playing, and she goes in to visit Daniel. Everybody looks significantly older. Daniel's old man makeup is especially bad, I noticed.
Agreed.
Everyone's old makeup is pretty bad, but I feel like Daniel's is the worst.
I think so.
Yeah.
Landry's is pretty bad too. But
Landry's is very
Daniel's-
bad. Yeah. Sam's seems to be the best,
Yeah.
I feel like. And they don't give any old man makeup to Teal'c because
He's Teal'c.
he's a Jaffa, so
Yeah.
age is super slow. Anyway, Sam asks Daniel why he keeps bothering to try to learn all this stuff when he's gonna just be dying with that knowledge anyway, but Daniel likes learning things. Same could be asked of you, Sam. Why do you bother to learn the cello if that ability is just going to die with you? It's for enjoyment, not because there's going to be any ultimate gain out of it necessarily. But Daniel's not ready to give up, and he says, besides, you haven't given up either. But no, Sam says she has. She has given up. She is no longer trying to rescue them. So, great.
Curse your sudden but inevitable betrayal.
Yeah. Then Landry's dying.
Yep.
He's in a hospital bed. Sam is crying at his bedside. He's telling her it's not her fault and they all would have died a long time ago if it weren't for her, and not to give up. Then, after that, she goes out and finds Teal'c, and he hugs her because Landry clearly has died. All sadness.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think Sam and Teal'c hooked up?
Like I said, that's the storyline I want, is the Teal'c, Mitchell, Sam throuple.
You want the
where all of them
throuple.
hook up.
True.
But we don't get that. So I'm going to assume, my headcanon is that, yes, Sam and Teal'c did hook up, but also Mitchell.
Also Mitchell. Then they're all sitting sadly, eating, while thinking about how Landry's dead. And then we see the beam get closer to the ship.
Yep. And then it's 50 years later. Cool.
Yeah.
One eternity later.
Mitchell comes in and says that he did not mean he wanted to spend every waking moment with them for the next 50 years, when way back in the day he said he wanted to bring the team back together and work with SG1 and learn from them. And they remind him that he has said this every day for the last several days. So apparently Mitchell is becoming a bit senile. So that's not great.
No.
And everyone else has everybody, except for Teal'c, of course, has even worse old person makeup on.
Hold it right there, boy. Sir, what about my age?
Teal'c has a dashing white streak in his hair, but that's all that he gets as far as aging goes. And then Sam quietly and not very excitedly says, she's figured it out. She knows how to reverse time in a localized field, exactly like Vala had suggested way back when she told Vala that it wouldn't be possible. But the problem is that it took her so long to figure it out that they don't have enough energy left in the ZPM or the Asgard core to make it work.
Oops.
So, yep. She created the field to buy them more time, but it bought them too much time, in a way, I guess. Mitchell asks Sam if she remembers that time that she had been shot and they thought they were going to die, and they used the Ori's staff weapon to power them out of phase. She says she vaguely remembers it, and I was like, how do you only vaguely remember getting shot?
It has been 50 years.
I know, but you were shot. I would think that the whole being shot part would maybe make that stand out in your mind a little bit more. I mean, I know she's gotten injured and shot a few times, but still.
Yeah.
Anyway, Mitchell thinks that they should do that again, but Sam doesn't think they have an Ori staff weapon, so he gently walks her over to the window and points out at the energy beam of the Ori weapon. And maybe they can use that. Sam starts to say there's no way we can, and then pauses and looks optimistic.
And then they're talking about it. Sam again says there's no way to absorb the blast and channel the energy into the Asgard core. Mitchell adds unless, and then she does have an answer, as we saw in the last. They reroute the power conduits to the core and let the blast hit them. It'll cause the ship to explode, but they'll have gotten enough energy from the beam before the ship is destroyed to activate their reverse time field.
Oh, how convenient!
Vala's like, we'll all be dead. And Sam's just like, just for a few milliseconds, it's fine.
That barely counts.
Yeah. It's really just being mostly dead at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The time will reverse, though, and they won't be dead. And the ship will not be destroyed. Mitchell thinks this is the only shot they got, and we should take it. Vala asks how far back they're going to go, and Sam says only to the point where they created the time dilation field. They can't reverse time for the whole universe. If they do go back further, they're outside normal space-time, and paradox, and terrible things will happen. She says she might be able to buy them a little more time, but only if one of them stays old.
Dun, dun, dun.
So everything in the field, she says, will be reversed. Age, memories, all of it will be undone. So they'll just keep repeating history. Unless someone can exist out of time and keep all their memories and, act when they reverse time. One thing she said is that a long time ago, just in case they ever fix this, she did create a program to sever the Asgard core from the hyperdrive controls very quickly so they can go to hyperspace almost immediately.
Convenient.
Yes. So that one person who stays behind is going to have to activate it. Sam assumes this is going to be her. However, Teal'c steps up because, of course, he's Teal'c, and he will. And also, he's a Jaffa, so he's not as affected with being
nowhere
old.
near as close to the end of his life as everybody else is. How awful would that be, though, if Sam hadn't... I was thinking about this. If Sam hadn't managed to find a solution and they all eventually died and he had like another century left on his own, that'd be horrible.
That would be horrible, yes. I don't know what you'd do, jeez.
Put myself in a deep state of kill no read.
I have no idea. I don't think I could survive that.
Yeah. Teal'c does ask, what if this doesn't work? Sam says the shields will fail and he'll also die along with the rest of them. So Teal'c's like, all right, cool, let's do it.
Yep, he's okay with dying nobly with his friends.
Yep. As long as he's not trapped alone in a time bubble with no one else.
Forever.
Yeah. Ooh.
We get a brief emotional scene between Daniel and Vala talking about the fact that it wasn't just because they were stuck on this ship all these years and that they would have hooked up eventually anyway, and it still made me cringe because it just, their relationship started so horribly that I found no satisfaction in seeing the two of them hook up. Also, I was never really invested in them hooking up anyway. But
now they're going to maybe get a do-over.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so maybe Daniel can be less terrible next time and they can actually hook up in a better way.
Yeah, like going on more not dates.
Right, exactly. And the bridge, Sam and Mitchell are there. Mitchell is looking out the view screen. Sam says she's ready. Mitchell gives the order. Teal'c is, I don't know, somewhere. He's in some big room. He's got an Asgard device, like basically like a personal shield that he's holding, and he activates that, and it puts up a little force field around him. And Sam pushes the button. The Ori beam makes contact with the Odyssey and makes it explode, but it only explodes a little bit before the explosion starts to reverse, and then we see the Ori beam withdrawing away from the ship. Teal'c is completely surrounded by explosion and flames, but is being protected by his shield, so he's still doing okay in there, hanging in there as chaos is happening all around him. And then it's 50 years ago. Chaos is still happening, but a different type of chaos. It is Daniel getting thrown from his chair, as we saw before. There are fires in the background. Teal'c is not there to put them out this time, which made me wonder a little bit about that paradox. But then if Teal'c was there to put the fires out, you would have two Teal'cs, which is also weird. So I just decided to not think about it.
That is for the best.
All right, let's get started before my headache gets any worse.
Sam and Vala are getting thrown around too. It's basically exactly where we left off when this whole thing started. Daniel tells them shields are offline. They can't take one more hit. They call to Sam. And as Sam gets up from the floor to turn on the time dilation field, Teal'c grabs her hand.
Yeah.
It is our Teal'c, our old Teal'c with the gray streak in his hair, looking dashing and also very serious. She asks what he's doing. But we don't actually get an answer to that. We just see suddenly the Odyssey jumping away into hyperspace to safety.
Yeah.
Missing the beam from the Ori ship as it's being fired.
Whew. 50-year close call.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we're back in the SGC.
Yeah. That was wrapped up so nice and neat and quick with no problems.
Nope, none.
Aside from the fact that Teal'c is now 50 years older.
That's true. And even so, he still has to put up with Vala talking at him.
Yep.
Which is where we are. Teal'c is winding down some candle time, going around
I
putting
appreciate
out the candles.
That all of the many times that we've talked about Teal'c and all of his many candles, they've always just been scenes of them being lit.
Yeah.
It felt fitting that he was going around the room blowing out all of his many candles this time at the end of this last episode.
Yeah. Vala is there, though. She really, really wants to know what happened during those 50 years that she has no memory of that didn't actually happen for her, but Teal'c knows all about. Teal'c, though, will not say anything.
Why not?
I don't know. I was wondering that. I don't understand why it matters.
They make it, and that was Vala's point exactly. Like, he makes it sound like he can't. Like, it would be like a paradox creation thing, or like, I forget what they call it in Star Trek, but like, when they're not allowed to, it's like basically against the,
Prime Directive?
Sorry, now I'm forgetting words. It's like the time prime directive or something, the temporal prime directive or something like that.
Yeah.
I think over there. But yeah, they don't have that here, and this timeline's not going to happen anyway, so I found it a little bit annoying that he wasn't willing to tell anybody anything when they all clearly wanted to know. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Well,
I interrupted.
No, I'm just trying to think, like, especially like, maybe I guess you could argue technological advancements, but Teal'c doesn't know the nitty gritty of that shit anyway. So what? Yeah, I don't know.
But even if he did, why wouldn't he tell them about it?
Yeah, I don't know. The future hasn't happened, so how could they affect the future? Like, what?
Right.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense.
It does not.
This is no time to argue about time.
So Teal'c leaves Vala wanting.
Yeah. Wanting to know who she hooked up with specifically, because she's sure it would have been someone.
Yeah.
The one person she doesn't guess is Daniel. Or
That's
Sam,
true.
for that matter.
That was,
I think it would have been funny if she had guessed Sam. That would have been great.
Yeah, but she doesn't.
Nope.
Because that's her deepest desire, and she doesn't want to share that with anyone.
Yep. Of course.
Even though he's a dick.
Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah. And then we have one final scene, all of this. Yeah.
Yeah.
We see Pualter one last time.
Yay, Pualter.
Unscheduled off-world activation.
Landry is ordering him to dial up the gate, so he is. He starts his usual spiel while the team comes in fully dressed, ready to go on a mission. They're still speculating about what was going on in that time. Teal'c is still mum about it. Mitchell thinks he would like to think he would handle himself well, but he probably went crazy cooped up so long, which, way to know yourself, Mitchell.
Right.
Yeah. Daniel teases that Teal'c told him things about what he learned from the Asgard knowledge base, which, right, that didn't get blown up, actually. So he'll learn that anyway. It's fine.
Yep.
Vala's like, really? What? But all he does is tell Vala a bunch of cliches. Beggars can't be choosers. Better late than never.
This went on longer than it should have or needed to, I feel like.
Yes, they all chime in with some more cliches. Yep. Vala ends on life is too short, and Daniel gives her a look like, oh, she thinks the same as me? What? We all think life is too short, Daniel. That's not really a connection, but okay. No. Yeah. Sam says, it's hard for us not knowing, but it must be torture for you, Teal'c, not to tell us. And he says, indeed.
Then why not?
I know. The gate finishes dialing. Landry wishes them luck. Mitchell says, just another everyday mission to save the galaxy. And then they all say indeed at the same time, which was silly.
It was.
And then they go through the gate, and that is how this series ends, except for the movies.
Whew. Obviously, I know you didn't like the episode. Would you like to share any more thoughts on the episode?
Yes, I did not like this episode because it was, as we said, unending.
Yes.
That scene with Daniel and Vala, ruined a lot of this episode for me.
I agree. Yeah, it was awful.
Awful. So I guess I'm recapping what I've already kind of expressed, but I think the end scene was fine as a wrap-up ending. That was okay, but
yeah.
Then they just, kill off the Asgard in the first few minutes, sort of like they wrapped up every other story in the last episode. I know it's really rushed and they didn't have time because they were canceled, but
it seemed like a weird way to wrap it up, too.
Yeah.
We'll kill them off and have them hand over their technology. What?
Yeah, just so that the rest of the group can just sit around for 50 years doing nothing.
Yeah.
While we watch them do nothing. Yeah, so it was real boring. How about you?
Yeah, as I just mentioned, I thought it was just a weird way to wrap up the Asgard, to just have them on for 2 seconds, hand over their technology, and kill them all. That was just the most bizarre way that you could wrap up that storyline. Yeah. It was relatively interesting for the first, maybe quarter of this. But then, when they were stuck on the ship for 50 years, it was very tedious, super depressing. Yeah. I thought. I just was feeling very depressed watching it because everybody else was so angry and upset and sad, and we're watching Landry die and we're watching everyone else despair, and I'm like, well, this just sucks.
Yeah.
And then I've mentioned before that when it turns out that an entire episode that you've just watched, it ends up being for nothing or ends up being undone or whatever, I really hate that kind of a plot line.
Yeah.
And so that's exactly what this was the majority of the episode that we watched that was so depressing they tortured us with for nothing because all of that depressing shit was for nothing when it was all undone anyway.
Yeah.
With the only difference being that Teal'c is the one person that remembers it. And I remember the first time I watched this, I was really angry with it and hated it and just I was hoping I would find it different this time, and I did not. It was just an awful way to end the series, and it's really annoying that this is what they did.
Yeah.
But it's also weird to think now that we are done with this show.
We are
that
done
we have
with
been
this
working
show.
on for so long.
So long. It's
should
wild.
I don't know, should we take a second to share our thoughts recapping the whole series?
Oh.
What we liked, didn't like?
About the series itself or the process?
No, the series itself.
Oh man, I think it's not a surprise. I think I've mentioned before, this really could have ended at season 8 and it would have been fine.
Yes.
I would have been completely satisfied with that ending, with what we got of SG1. There was still Atlantis. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
There were a handful of episodes in the last 2 years that were fun and okay, but overwhelmingly, I suck. The religious zealotry is very upsetting and annoying.
Yes.
And so there's a lot I didn't like. I loved most of SG1.
Yes,
before
the vast majority.
Love Jack. Miss Jack so much.
Mm-hmm.
I like Mitchell. He's fine. Vala's fine, but the old team is where I want to be.
Yeah.
I don't know. And I don't know. I like the Goa'uld as more interesting villains. Entertaining.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, pretty much all the same stuff that you've said. I think that the Goa'uld were a way better villain. Very interesting. Like they felt like actual important bad guys. I'm not explaining that well, but like it felt like there was more weight behind the threat of the Goa'uld, I guess. I thought that they were just a cool enemy to have, like the whole cookie voice and the glowy eyes and like the fact that they were basically immortal and had like their genetic memories and everything. They were just a really good foe to have. And I definitely will always have a special place in my heart for this series, but it is mostly the first 8 years that I will have that special place for rather than these last 2 seasons. And definitely when I'm rewatching this yet again, as I'm sure I will continue to do many times in the future, I'm probably going to end my rewatch at season 8 at the end of that.
Yeah.
Because, the Ori, not a good enemy. The change in the cast, they were all fine. There was nothing wrong with the changes in the cast, but they weren't the original cast, which is what everybody came to know and love over those first 8 seasons. So while I liked Landry, Vala became more likable towards the end, and I liked Mitchell, but it's not what I wanted from this show, basically.
Yeah. I miss Hammond, too.
So great series overall, but just ends on a low note in the last fifth of the show, sadly.
But there will be 2 movies. Maybe
there will be 2 movies.
Somehow redeem the last 2 seasons and...
Do they? I don't know if I actually like the movies or not. I really remember nothing about them. I know I've watched them both, but I really don't remember anything about the movies. We'll find out, I guess.
We will. But not yet. Have we talked about the final plan?
We have not, because we hadn't determined what it was going to be during our last recording. We came up with this plan after.
Yeah. So should we tell people what to expect?
Yeah. What's next? Ask me what's next.
What is next, Mary?
Next is 3 episodes of Stargate Atlantis. Not all at once. But because the season finale of Atlantis is a TV continued, we don't feel right leaving this on a cliffhanger. And then also season 4, episode 1 of Atlantis, also a TV continued. So even though we're not going to do all of season 4, we're at least going to finish out this story arc that is coming up with this 3-part episode ahead of us.
Yeah.
So that said, we have season 3, episode 20, First Strike, part 1. According to TVDB, an unstoppable energy weapon leaves Atlantis under siege after Earth launches a preemptive attack against a very powerful enemy's home world.
Oopsie.
Meanwhile, over at TVDB, after learning the Asurans are building a fleet of ships, Earth sends its newest ship, the Apollo, under the command of Colonel Abe Ellis to initiate a preemptive first strike to stop them from attacking Atlantis or worse, Earth itself.
Oh.
Yeah. And then once we finish out these 3, there will be movies, there will be origins. But for now, we're going to do 3 episodes of Atlantis for the next few weeks.
Yay.
Yeah. Anything else?
Yeah, I don't think so. No, I think that's about it. Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening to Stargating with Kathy and Mary. Our fully listener-supported program couldn't be done without you. Show your support by telling everyone you know how awesome this show is. Find us at stargating.space. Reach us by email, stargating@gmail.com. Find us on social media at Blue Sky. Get some merch, tinyurl/stargating. And finally, show your financial support at patreon.com/stargating. Thank you for traveling through the gate with us. Catch you next time on Stargating with Kathy and Mary.
I'm Mary.
I'm Kathy.
You've been listening to Stargating, the end.
The end. The actual end of SG1.
The actual end of SG1. This
Crazy.
Series, anyway.
Yeah.
It is. It doesn't feel realistic, I think, probably just because we have the 2 movies left, but...
Yeah.
But yeah. It is crazy.